Hello, and welcome to Of the People. More importantly, welcome to Super Tuesday. Let's cut through it all. Trump wins Super Tuesday. Race is over. But what this is really about, and people should understand on Super Tuesday, is not only is all politics local, all voting happens at the local level. At least they haven't been successful in nationalizing it yet. So all of this against the backdrop this week that all voting is local and we want as many people to vote as possible. But you now have, earlier this week, Attorney General Merrick Garland was down in Selma, Alabama for the, I believe it's 59th anniversary of Black Sunday. And for those of you who don't know your history, if you don't know your history, you're probably not listening to this podcast. But for those of you who don't know your history, that was when law enforcement basically attacked civil rights protesters in Selma, Alabama. It's called Bloody Sunday. But the problem is they are rolling out the same old tropes, and you know how I love to read things to everybody. So Merrick Garland down in Selma, Alabama, and this is all about voter ID and voting rights, says the following, that anyone who certain measures such as voter ID laws and redistricting makes it much harder for millions of eligible voters to vote and to elect representatives of their choice. Such measures threaten the foundation of our system of government. What crap, right? Because it's the same old trope. As we learned with the Georgia law in 2021, it actually increased voter turnout. But we're going to put something up for you right now. Here are all the things that you as Americans have to show ID for in order to get anywhere. You have to have an ID if you want to get into the hospital. You have to have an ID if you want to sign a mortgage. You have to have an ID if you want to get married and or you have to have an ID if you want to get a birth certificate. You have to have an ID if you want to buy a firearm. Let's put that back up again. I want people to see this, right? You have to have IDs for all these things, but you don't have to have a voter ID or an ID to vote. The most sacred responsibility, because the trope is, oh, they're threatening democracy, right? Which is, we want all people to vote. And yes, we do, but we want all legal people to vote. With the influx of illegal immigrants into this country, the massive influx, Arizona just passed a law that you have to show proof of citizenship to vote. Democrats challenged it in court, and the federal judge just says, no, that's not an unreasonable burden. What I really want to know, and what I think everybody here is, why is it always about discrimination? And why isn't it about getting it right? Because isn't it more important, or at least as important, that we get the vote count right? Because free and fair elections depends on getting the vote count right, and most importantly, people having confidence that their vote was counted. So you see all of this stuff going on, and the question for America is, which is more important to you, right? But there is some good news, as I said, the Georgia voter law, the Arizona voter law, and I want to end this on a little more good news. There are things that are really positive happening in this country, and in all places, in New Jersey, where there has been, under the radar, certainly not reported, a Republican wave happening in the blue state of New Jersey, and nobody's talking about it, which will get really interesting in the 2025 election. Later on, we're going to have County Commissioner Joseph Sileo with us. Stay tuned for that. With that, Ericka, come on back in and save me from myself.
Hello, Robert. Great.
Hello,
great
Ericka.
Monologue. Oh my! Can we look on that? Can we look at that list again? Is it okay
Sure,
if I
bring
that up?
Bring it up.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at this, and I started to laugh because we talk about this all the time, right? The voter ID stuff, and or this is a topic of conversation pretty regularly. That you don't need it to vote, which is super important, but you need it for dumb stuff like buying cold medicine.
Right.
Okay. I got ID'd to buy a can of spray paint at Home Depot.
Well, because they think you're going to inhale it, right? By the way, you know what's next? Wait, you know what's next? No, you know what's next? I was joking. But they are going to actually, you're going to now have to show ID to buy whipped cream. You know why?
Oh, because of Whippets.
Because the Whippets in the can, Oh my! I'm kidding, folks, but I mean that's.
Oh,
how
I'm like, wait,
asinine-
what? Are you serious? I would. Here's the thing. I believed you. Like you were saying that like it was a joke, but I full on believed that you were serious.
That's because you trust me. It's your first mistake.
Oh my God. No, it's because these people are so stupid. I would not put it past them. Just like Bloomberg said you couldn't have a soda over 12 ounces or
Right.
whatever it was, you know? Like,
Serious note. You know what's really scary? So
What?
Merrick Garland in that interview after they were down in Selma said that we think that this is so important. Quote, we are doubling the amount of lawyers at the Department of Justice in the Civil Rights Division for voter rights. So
What?
folks, not only you're getting 87 or 81,000 more IRS agents to make sure you're paying your money to keep feeding the beast,
Oh
you're
my
now
God,
going to
now
have
there's-
double the amount. Well, but think about it. Isn't that what we need? More lawyers.
yes, more going after the average regular Joe, you know, regular American, just trying to live their life. It is, oh my God, it is so stupid. The worst part about it, Robert, which this is one of those, are they stupid or are they evil kind of a thing?
They're not stupid. Let's take stupid off the table, because if you assume that they're stupid, they win. They're not stupid. This is by
that's true.
design. And
I
before
mean,
you
it
say
is-
two things. Think about where their priorities are. Their priorities are make sure you pay money to the government so we can continue to give it away to our constituents, meaning the Democrat, teachers
Right.
unions, all that stuff. And we want to make sure that free and fair elections, everyone votes without any checks on are you legally entitled to vote? And that we're now bringing in millions upon millions of illegal immigrants into the country, and there's no way to know whether or not they're voting or not.
Yeah.
Get the idea?
This is the proof that these people are unserious and really ultimately, they're kind of racists. They're kind of bigots.
Oh, no.
And prejudice.
We're racist. We're white nationalists, or at least we're white, which makes us white
pretty
nationalists.
sure. See, this is the thing. I feel like now. Okay, I'm going to set this up for you, Robert. Okay, you ready?
Ding, ding, ding.
This is the question. Who's the racist? Is it the person who
I am.
believes that black people and brown people, not white people, okay? Is it the person who believes that not white people are fully capable of getting to the DMV and getting an ID? Or is it the people who say that they're too dumb to figure out how to get, and too dumb and too poor to figure out how to get to the DMV and get an ID? Which one of those people is the racist?
Actually, I was always taught to answer a question with a question. I learned that at Futurecraft way back in the day, and that was for you, Joe. But basically, first of all, you have to define what is racism these days, because they've redefined it. Don't answer that question. Here's the real issue. All of these people who don't have to show voter IDs have to have an ID, because they couldn't do all these other things to function in society without an ID. So they clearly have an ID, but they don't want to be forced to show an ID because that allows for monkey business in games. And as the Georgia Voting Rights Act, or whatever the law was called in 2021 shows, it actually increased voter turnout. It didn't suppress it. So, but again, why should we let facts matter? Facts don't matter.
That's because feelings don't matter. Don't care about your facts. Wait, what is it wait, did I do it right? The Ben Shapiro quote? I wanted to do it opposite. Feelings don't care about your facts.
Oh, you mean facts don't care about your feelings?
Yeah. Except I said it the wrong way, because they don't care, because they're dumb.
All right.
They're not
So
dumb.
listen,
They're evil and terrible. Moving on.
So
Go ahead,
I do want to
Robert.
segue, because there is some good news. So folks, joining us is Commissioner Director Joe Sileo of Cumberland County, New Jersey. There is something going on in New Jersey where a lot of the counties are now at the county government level, and we've always argued that all politics is local. There's some really positive things happening in New Jersey, which I know people here in New Jersey, they roll their eyes and go, "What?" So is Joe joining us? Let's bring him into the feed.
All right, Joe, you
Commissioner,
are live with us.
Commissioner Sileo, welcome to Of the People. full disclosure, we go back a gazillion years, but welcome to Of the People. So happy to have you joining us to talk about what's going on in Cumberland County and what's going on in New Jersey, Mr. Commissioner.
Well, it's very good to see you first, Robert. We've been old friends for a very long time, and this is a much appreciated interview that I think South Jersey and most of North Jersey are going to appreciate when they see this. And thank you, Ericka, too, for being so gentle with me.
You are so welcome. No problem, Commissioner.
So what's going on what's going on in Cumberland County? Let's give us, because most of what we focus on is national, but really over time we've come to see, Ericka and I, that all politics is not only local, but that's where you can make an impact. And correct me if I'm wrong, Cumberland County was a Democratic stronghold for 40 years, 50 years,
Correct.
And now it's not. So take us back. What happened and how and why? Because that's the important stuff.
Well, basically what occurred was back in 2014, 2015, we had a change of Republican county chairman to Michael Testa Jr. And Michael Testa Jr., it's a very well-known name down in southern New Jersey, in Vineland, New Jersey especially. His grandfather was a judge, a lawyer, established his own firm, and also was the first mayor of Vineland, New Jersey, after it split up from Landisville. After that, the sons, both Michael and Joe Testa, have become lawyers as well. So it's a well-known family within the area. But more importantly, they're a very political family. They are truly Republicans to every sense of the word. Mike,
You mean their values?
Their values, absolutely. Their values are through and through conservatism. And Michael Testa Jr.'s father and I are very friendly. We've been friends for many years, and he saw my passion to run for an office. So years back, I ran for city council in '92. I did lose, but short margin, but I still lost. But then later on, I became a committee member, and for several years. And then I said to Michael's
Wait, you were a
father,
committee member. Did you win an election?
I became a committee member through election. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think what people want to, I think as much as this is a success story, I think people want to know, how'd you do it? So there was an election, you get elected, you get bumped up, but let's talk about county commissioner level, because that's really where the power is, correct?
Well, that's where I was going. After I became a committee member and just getting involved in the wards and the day-to-day, nuts and bolts of things, I said to Mr. Testa, I said, Mike, I said, I think I should run for something else. And at the time, in 2019, 2020, it was very hard to get anybody to run against the Democrats. And at that
Sounds
time,
familiar.
Yeah, but Michael Testa Jr. really put the special sauce and the recipe together to how to break through the Democratic Party and start getting people to either change over and vote Republican. So basically, it was grassroots. It started with door knocking, hitting neighborhoods that were never hit before, that had possibilities of changing from blue to red or independence just not coming out. You have to build excitement. And this excitement came from seeing something different. The Democrat Party was in power for 40 years. We had one year, there was a couple of Republicans within this time frame that were voted in commissioners, and it was always a stalemate with them. I think in the county as well, the constituents got tired of having the life sucked out of them. Cumberland County is the most economically depressed county within the state. They're treated like a stepchild almost, in the sense, from the county. They'd like to see our shoreline from the rest of North Jersey just wash away and go away. Well, we're not going away. So what we did is we had myself, well, first of all, I'll talk about Doug Albrecht. Doug Albrecht was the first Republican to get elected in 2019. But unfortunately, there was other 6 commissioners that were a stumbling block for him. They kept him
Okay.
from. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. So 2019, the first Republican was elected, and now all the way. So fast forward only 3 years, you went from a fully Democratic commission to a fully Republican commission.
That is
that
correct.
right?
That is correct.
I mean, that's correct. Now, was it like a couple people a year, or did it go from that one person you just mentioned to the whole kit and caboodle
No, it
in
went
one
from
election?
It went from one person, Doug, who was a hardworking guy who had knocked on plenty of doors and messaged out to a lot of people. The following year, Tony Romero and myself. Tony Romero is Cuban American, and we ran and we knocked on doors in neighborhoods that wasn't even considered Republican. We switched over. We were out. Basically, registrations were outnumbered by 16,000 voters to Republican voters. So we had
What's
16,
Joe?
Yes.
What's the
yes, sir.
population of Cumberland County?
About 160,000.
Got it. Just to try to give the listeners a sort of a perspective.
Percentage, yes.
So here's my question. I understand what you're saying is that one of the reasons you guys were successful is because you went door to door and you sort of went back to the old way of doing politics, which is belly to belly. But I guess what I'm curious about is, that gives you their ear. But what were the issues? What were the secret sauce, if you will, as you referenced? What were the issues that they cared about that said, "Hey, I'm tired of the old guys. I want the new guys"?
Good
Well, I
question.
think that was part of it. Again, I'll go back to Mr. Testa, Senator Testa as well, is that they saw a slight change come about when Doug Albrecht became commissioner. So that blood was in the water, and we saw.
We like to call that a beachhead, that you had a beachhead. We don't want to talk about blood here, but okay. All right. Can we talk about a beachhead? It's like the D-Day landing. We just want a foot on the beach.
Okay, well, we were on the beach. But what was very interesting is that they knew that there was people that were dissatisfied with what was happening. And I'll get to those major points in a moment. But I just want to bring out that part of Senator Testa's notoriety also helps. He was very well known within Cumberland County, Cape May County, Atlantic County, and Salem County. His district, LD1, basically encompassed quite a bit of those counties themselves. So that was one, basically, coattail that we could ride on. Two was there were several issues which you want me to get to. One is the jail. The Cumberland County Jail, there was supposed to be a new jail built back in 2019, and it never happened. The Democrats they took a bond out for $52 million. I'm rounding it off.
Oh, I love it.
$16 million was already put into action, put a slab down into a piece of property, and they cut the strings after spending $16 million. I ran on that, Tony and I ran on that major issue because basically it's a parking lot now for nobody.
So it's fiscal irresponsibility. Go ahead, Ericka. I'm sorry.
You know that you literally took the words out of my mouth. So basically, they're behaving poorly. They're costing taxpayers millions of dollars. And I'm just remembering you said it's an economically depressed area. So if they're already economically depressed and then you just waste $16 million, that's probably not going to bode well for you in an election.
And it was very helpful for us to win the election. There was also a second issue, which was the utility authority for Cumberland County, that the Democrats were looking to monetize that particular utility authority, which was actually a cash cow for the county.
Wait. What does monetize mean? Privatize?
They wanted to privatize it, correct?
They wanted to take a public utility, so more money in their pocket. Basically, we want to make this a private enterprise. We want to give it to somebody, one of our power brokers, our economic power brokers, a stalwart of the Democrats, so we can siphon off more money. Is that a stretch?
That's not a stretch at all. Not a stretch at all.
Interesting.
And again, that was another issue that we ran again. Again, fiscally irresponsible. We've seen this time and time again. There was one other issue that really was important, is that we had many contracts for the county that were going unsigned, unnegotiated, and even going into their second form of years into another contract years where they were not bothering to settle the contracts. Again,
wow.
what we came in now
You
within
mean
a year
like a
and a
no-bid
half.
contract? Like a no-bid contract?
These were union contracts.
Oh, follow the money. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And they
Okay.
were not making it. We were losing employees, and then of course the other issue was because they stopped building a jail, and there was talk of tearing down this jail and sending our inmates to other places. Now other unions were getting upset, thinking they were going to lose their jobs. It was a real debacle, which was going on prior to us getting in.
And I imagine usually, even if it's just a county lockup, jails employ a lot of people and they keep your place safe. It also makes sure that if people are in trouble, they get to stay in their community rather than being shipped off to another state where they never get to see, or maybe across the state where they never get to see their friends or family and maybe just get worse while they're locked up.
And Ericka, that's exactly what was happening. Robert would understand. We're still shipping inmates up to Hudson County from Cumberland County, which is a 2-hour slot.
And Hudson County is like Jersey City, right? You're way up north.
Yes, exactly.
So so it was a combination of things. It was like people were really unhappy. You had someone who you could count on with name recognition to kind of boost everybody. You really dug into the pain points of your community. Is there anything else, like, I don't know, Jesus or like something that or was it just really hard work? I mean, it sounds like you guys just really worked hard.
There was a gentleman named Joe Kondo. He was the last Republican director of Camden County several years ago. And he came on board and started showing us figures and numbers on how to penetrate the market down here to the voters, the 4-4s, the 2-4s, and get them out and vote for something that really matters. Again, what you said earlier, Robert, was the local level is what's important.
That's right. School boards, commissioners. You know what I'm hearing, Joe, is that obviously we talk about all politics being local, but here's an example in Cumberland County where, I'm hearing breadbasket issues, right? I'm hearing pocketbook issues. I'm hearing, affordability issues, and I'm hearing fiscal accountability issues. So the Republicans now control the Cumberland County Commission, correct?
Correct.
What policies have you put in place? In other words, so the voters have given you a chance now. Okay, we trust you as the Republicans based on these values, and these guys didn't deliver. What are you doing to make sure that you're delivering what you promised to the voters?
Well, there's several things. Also, by the way, before we get into that, is that we also this year elected the 3 new candidates as commissioners. So we have brand new. That made us the 7-0 board. We also voted in the surrogate Republican, which is not, it's bipartisan, but he was a Republican, and we also have a Republican sheriff now. So not only did we sweep 7-0 on that respect, but we also have a surrogate and a sheriff now of Republican background. And the only other office that's left is the county clerk. And that's, we're looking, yes, and we're going after
Who's
that.
next?
Next.
Do you have
Exactly.
somebody lined up for that position that you're going to be
One of our
running?
commissioners, yes, one of our commissioners will be running against the Democrat Party's incumbent at this point in time.
Excellent.
So that's another one we're doing. But to go back to Robert's point of view on what we've done, well, we've settled 5 contracts out of 6. We've raised the salary levels of these particular contracts, starting wages, because we were losing people to surrounding counties. Our sheriff's department's been settled in 2 respects, 2 different union contracts. We are working on the UAW. We're working on the CWA. We've settled several other contracts in the midst. Now, also, we are working on what was given to us, which was a 4-3 vote was what they call broadband. I don't know if anybody's heard this terminology.
Rural broadband is a big deal.
Right.
In Vermont,
It allows-
New Hampshire too.
Right, and in the Midwest. So keep going. We got it.
All right, so we were basically administered a grant of $24 million between Cumberland and Salem County. And we're working on that project now. The problem is that we don't want to be, again, have over expenditures on this particular project.
Wait, Joe, let me interrupt you. You're a politician and you want to stay within your budget?
Yes, sir.
What?
I'm shocked. Wait a minute.
Okay,
Wait a minute.
clearly this guy needs to get voted out of office. Okay?
Exactly.
What is the matter with you?
Right. So here you have a
Wait,
politician
here's
who
my
actually wants to live within
Here's
their
my
means.
wallet.
That's exactly right, guys. Live within your means.
Speaking
look.
of living within your means, we're going to take a quick break to give a shout out to the radio stations. Y'all, if you're watching live on the socials or listening to the podcast, we are also on the radio Thursday mornings in New Hampshire. So we're going to give a shout out to our radio station and to our...
WNTK.
That's right.